This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, today we're going to try to be doing
This conference will now be recorded.
Today we're going to be doing SAP Business One and Budget Writeback with Solver products. So in this demonstration, we'll be using the hybrid reporting model in SAP Business One 9.3. So the first thing we have to do is go to Settings and Budgeting. We have to make sure that we're set up to do the budgeting. By doing that, we select our integration, which is SAP Business One. And then when you basically set up your connection, you set up the number of companies. And so here you say that says, okay, that means that we're set up for budgeting. What that does, it set up the number of tables into the ERP database so that you can write back. SAP Business One, we have a unique table. We do not write back directly into SAP Business One budget tables, but we have alternative tables that we do that we can use for reporting. So once we've done that, we're going to go up to budgeting, and I'm going to set up a category. So I'm going to go new category. I'm going to put in here SAP Business One, SAP B1. Okay. And this is where I'm going to go. And then I'm going to create a new template. So I'm going to go new and select the integration here. And we're going to do SAP B1 right back. And then go create. So all of this is done in Excel. And it creates a report designer. So if you've used our products before, you know that they're all Excel based. And we have a business SAP Business One, and we basically have that we write back using the report designer. So to do that, we have our basically our different fact sets. So what we're using is called Budget Foundation. We have budgeting here with BGT1. That is a budget table in SAP Business One, but we're going to use the write back as what's called Budget Foundation. So the key here is you can do a number of things, but the key that you have to have is the account code, the business scenario, the period ID, and the value. That's what we're going to be using. So you do have the ability that you can write back more things like dates and comments and numbers and such. But in this case, we're going to try to keep it simple. So we're going to bring our business code into our write back tool and create a row. And within this, that's a dimension, and you can have and see all your accounts. And this is a combined account string. You can see that. You want to bring in your whole account code because basically the database writes to a full account code. You can't really write to a segment unless it's unique. So the best practice is to bring the account code in. And we can select a account code. In this case, I'm going to go begins with 4. That's our revenue. And I'm going to go here and go to our account code and bring in account name. I'm going to separate this out, make a little space here. Okay, and then I'm going to run this quick and just see what it looks like. And this should bring in all my account codes and name that begin with a 4. So you can see that. So we also have different levels here, so we could filter those out if we want. And I could do instead here and call this 4.1, and that will filter out the top level and just have my accounts with that. All right, so I'm gonna actually make this a little bit bigger. And then I'm gonna go here and then bring in my value 1. I could do other values. I'm going to do value 1, and you see a little dollar sign there. That's a measure, so that basically makes that a number, and we can write back to that. And if I go here, I go to my period functions, I'm going to go and do a year to date. Okay, so those are the basic values. If I run this, since there's no data in there, whoops, I gotta put in a period. Let's go do that. I'm gonna go to 216.3. And see there's nothing there. So there's a few things that I can do to build something there. I can go here and go display blank records. That basically will bring null values. And I can go here and then expand this out, and that would bring a blank value. The other thing you can do, if you know your data, is you can also go here into the actual data and then bring in an amount. So if I bring an amount here and then run this, oops, let me go back here. And I'm going to expand this out. No, I'm not going to do that at all. I'm actually going to go here. Let me redo this. So I'm going to insert here. This will make a little bit more sense. And then I'm going to put my amount in front of it. So these are my actuals. I'm just going to keep my actuals here. And then I'm going to expand my budget amounts. Let's delete that and do that instead. So that'll make a little bit more sense. Okay. So now I have on my column D, I'm going to go back here and make that a year to date too. So here's my actuals. And here's my budget. All right. So let's try running that now and see. And you see that that brings data. So that basically will populate in that fiscal year, those periods, and you see this expands out. So it gives me more of a matrix. So there's some benefits of doing that. If you have large data sets and you have the data that's been populated, that makes a little bit more sense to do than just the blanks. But it's up to you what you want to do. Okay. So now that we've done that, we have to look at what's required to do the budget. So we're missing one more thing. So within that, on this column here, and that's why I made separate columns, we also need our budget. So if I go here into my budget foundation, I can see my budget scenario. Okay. And I can make a parameter or I can hard code that either way. In this case, I'm just going to make a parameter. And I'm going to make this, and I could call this budget for 2016. And these will bring up the budgets that I have in SAP Business One. So if I want multiple budgets, because you are in the ERP, you have to create those in the ERP. Okay, and then if that runs, it's going to give me pretty much what I had before. All right, so now we do the write back. So we click on our measure right here, and you can tell that we're in cell C9, all right? And then you can see a budget tab. So I'm going to store it to the budget foundation and then value 1. And see, automatically it senses, because I have these fields added, that has the account code, the budget scenario, and the period ID. So this will allow that. A key thing, a common mistake, is that you put in the budget parameter versus the budget reference. And if you do that, it'll only write back to the period you choose as a parameter. So it's important to do that. So that is the simple write back. And now what we can do is that we can save this. And then my draft's been uploaded. And now I'm going to close this. And I'm going to close Excel too. Okay. And now I'm going to run this. And the first time I run this, if I run this inside of the portal, it's going to have blank periods. So if you run this again, those last periods will default that you chose those. So I chose 2016-03. And I'm going to choose a budget scenario, budget 2016. All right. And I'm going to run this. Okay. So here are the budgets. So I'm going to put in here negative 2,500. So I do negative as these are credits. So you want to put these normally as a negative type number. And there's all sorts of different ways that you can do this to have spreading and so forth in the lid, but we're just going to do this really simple. And I'm going to basically hit save. And this is going to save in that table. Okay. So now that basically if I run a report and I make my report, I can use my budget foundation value 1, and I can include that as a budget write back, and I can include that with all my reports. So there's obviously a lot more sophistication that you can do with this, but this is the basics to get you going. And if you want more information, you can certainly go to our Solver Academy, or you can contact Solver support with more questions. Thank you.